In the late 90s and early 2000s, American horror went PG-13. France said, "Hold my wine," and we got the new French Extremity. 2004, America woke up in a dingy bathroom with our legs chained and a dull hacksaw in our hands. With movies such as Hostel, Cabin Fever, and Saw, we got the era of torture porn. Welcome to the Mostly Pot Out at Night. Mostly, I am Salem, joined by my co-host Graveyard.
Hello.
This is episode 63 of our weekly All Things Horror podcast. Join us as we choose to live, die, or continue this journey of escape room nightmares. So yes, we're starting this franchise. There's a whole lot of them. I believe we're up to 10 now.
Yep.
But this episode we are doing the first 3, which are aptly named Saw, Saw 2, and Saw 3.
Yeah, it's about time we got to this, and Saw X just came out, so good timing. Almost planned that way.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start off with the original Saw, which is that 2004? Is that correct?
2004. Yep.
I remember this was, I believe, the last DVD I bought without checking to see if it was full screen or widescreen first. And I got a full screen version. I don't even think they have those anymore.
I don't think so.
But at the time, I bought Saw. It was from a used place or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got it home. I'm like, oh, what? It was full screen. It was not widescreen. It was the last movie I remember having that issue with. I've always checked since then, but I don't even think they do that anymore.
No, I don't think so either.
So I still have my full screen version of Saw on DVD. You want it?
I'm pretty sure mine's full screen as well. And I know I own the first 7 on DVD, so.
I think, yeah, I believe I only have the first one. I don't think I own any of the rest of them. But yes, so Saw, we're gonna do this a slightly different way this time. We're not gonna just go through the recap because these movies are pretty convoluted. They jump around all over the place. There's flashbacks sometimes
within
other
flashbacks.
Flashbacks, yeah. I mean, there's stuff happening all over the place. It is hard to go from point A to point B with these movies. So we're just going to kind of go over the overarching plot. Then later on, we're going to focus on the traps after that. Because
the traps.
That's what these movies are all about, is the traps.
Yes.
And then we'll do our normal highlights and low points after that. But we'll start with just a kind of generic plot here. So, the plot for the first Saw, I believe they wake up in the bathroom, right?
Yeah, because then we get the whole flashback to
Yeah.
everything kind of in the past.
Right. Well, yeah. Okay. I'm just saying, I don't think anything happens before they wake up. Like, they literally wake up down there. So there's 2 people that wake up down there. One is Adam, who is like a normal, I don't know, early mid-20s kind of normal, kind of alternative looking kid, right?
Yep.
And then you have a Dr. Lawrence Gordon, played by Cary Elwes, who is, I don't know, what is he, 40-ish?
40-ish, yeah.
And he's like your typical kind of, clean cut, fancy doctor type guy, right?
Yep.
So they essentially wake up in the dark. They're kind of like, screaming for help. Like, who are you? What's going on? The doctor manages to turn on the lights, and then they see that they are chained to pipes in the wall. They're in like an old bathroom, like an old beat up, tile crumbling, rusty pipe bathroom. And they're chained to, each of them have a leg chained to a pipe in the wall. And they're locked with padlocks, and doesn't appear to be anything else in the room at the time. There's just, toilets, urinals, a big sliding door on the, on the doctor's side, but it's locked. It doesn't open. And, just typical bathroom stuff. So they're trying to figure out, what was the last thing they remember? How did they get here? You know, like what is going on? So,
like I said, it's the world's worst escape room.
right. Yeah. And so at this point, I believe, yeah, I think whatever. They're talking back and forth. They're trying to figure out, like, they're both blaming each other for how they got there. They managed to see that there's a dead guy in the middle of the room who apparently shot himself in the head because he's got a big hole in his head, right?
Yep.
And he's got a gun in one hand and he's got a little tape recorder in the other, which is, I really would love to know what like discount outlet he bought these things from, because over the course of the franchise, how many of these recorders do you think there are?
Oh, 100.
I mean, there's a lot of these. But anyway, they're the little mini tapes, you know, like actual physical tapes. They're the little mini recorders. And so that basically every trap in this entire franchise comes with one of these.
Yes.
And so, yeah, they both, you know, kind of check their pockets. You know, they both have an envelope in their pocket with their name on it. The doctor opens his up. He has a bullet, a key, and a little tape. And then Adam, I believe, just has a little tape. I don't think he had anything else in his.
Correct.
So he manages to, like, you know, fashion like a kind of little grappling hook out of the plug for the tub that he was in. When he gets the tape player, he plays it. Basically just super vague. Like, hey, let's play a game. You're a voyeur. Let's see how you like it.
Yep.
That's it. That's the whole tape. No directions given. So then he tosses it back to the doctor. The doctor plays his. Now, the doctor has a very detailed set of rules that he has to follow.
Yes.
And essentially what he has to do is the clock, I believe, it's like 11:30, right? Or like noonish.
Something like that. I think it's like 6 hours.
Right. So he has 6 hours to kill the other guy whose name is Adam. Okay. And that's his job. He has to kill him within 6 hours. If he doesn't, his wife and daughter will die.
Yes.
That's the rules. Again, Adam doesn't get any rules really at all. Nope. He just like nothing. So, you know, I believe the first clue they get is, you know, they're trying to figure out what's going on. And I think Adam starts throwing stuff around the room and he manages to hit the mirror. And that's when he realizes it's a two-way mirror. And he throws more like tile chunks over there and smashes it. And they see that there's a big camera that's watching them.
Right.
And at that point, then the doctor then remembers, or at least knows who it is that did this to them. And this is when we get the first flashback, which goes over kind of the leading up to this. Anyway, there's a serial killer named Jigsaw. This is the fourth incident that he would have done. They know of 3 before this one. I guess we'll go over the traps later, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I won't bother going over them now. Oh, yeah. So anyway, he killed 3 people before this point. This is his 4th. The doctor knows because he was a suspect.
Because his light pen was found.
Yeah. His light pen with his, you know, fingerprints and DNA, whatever, was found at one of the crime scenes. So he was a suspect. He had an alibi. He got dismissed. But the one detective, Danny Glover, who is like obsessed with, you know, was been on this case since the beginning, has been obsessed with following, still believes it's him. And so they, I know this is happening later, but I'm just going to go over all the flashbacks right now because it's less confusing that way.
Right.
So anyway, so Danny Glover and his partner, they managed to find, he's watching the videos, you know, the play game videos from the other crime scenes, and he finds enough clues where he finds out a location, and then what is it? Oh, he hears a fire alarm. So then they're able to like look up fire alarms in this little area where this gang territory was, whatever.
The BK4s or whatever.
Yeah, or K2K or something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They find the location of the warehouse. They go to the warehouse. They find Jigsaw. The altercation with Jigsaw has a guy already set up in a little killing thing, and he turns it on like these drills are going to drill the guy's head. So the one detective has to deal with that, and then Danny Glover goes and tries to chase him down. Danny Glover, he trips and falls, or what happens? Something happens where he gets knocked out, or he can't find him, or something.
He's able to shoot him. He goes towards the body, and he gets his throat slit.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say I knew he got injured or something happened. Oh yeah, that's right. Jigsaw turns into an assassin from Assassin's Creed. Like he literally has the hidden blade come out of his hand, and he's wearing a robe just like an assassin.
Right, and we never see his face either.
Right. No, yeah, we don't see his face. They do. We don't.
Right.
So yeah, he gets slashed in the throat, and then he runs, and then the detective his partner manages to shut down the drill machine. And he's running down after him, and he triggers a trap, which is quote unquote trap. It's just a bunch of shotguns with
like five shotguns,
right, on a tripwire. So he gets, the partner gets killed. Jigsaw gets away. So essentially, what happens is Danny Glover gets obsessed with the case. He gets dismissed from his job because apparently he takes things too far, and because his partner died, they're like, hey, this is too much for you, you need to go out. So anyway, so he is out of the game, but he's still trying to investigate, and he's obsessed that the doctor knows something.
Right.
He knows the doctor isn't Jigsaw because he saw Jigsaw's face, but he's trying to he knows that the doctor knows something. He's like, it's too coincidental that he was able to find something, whatever. So he's been going on, and then I'm going to give away one of the twists later on is that Danny Glover actually hired Adam to take pictures of the doctor to keep tabs on where he went. Now that's kind of a twist later on because Adam says, I don't know you. You don't know me. We don't know each other, which is a lie. Obviously he knew him. He took pictures of him. Anyway, so we go later on. So that's kind of the whole flashback era. And then we also see them get kidnapped. We see the doctor get kidnapped from the parking garage after he was I guess what was he gonna bone one of his students or something.
He was going to.
Then he chickened out. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, he was not where he said he was. He said he was going to the hospital to do surgery, and he wasn't. He was going to some woman's hotel room or something. And then we see that Adam get captured in his own apartment while he was developing photos of the doctor.
Yep.
So anyway, they follow some clues. Anyway, the first clue, they look in the toilet tank and they find some hacksaws. They realize that they don't have enough time to cut through their chains because the chains are way, way too thick. Yes. And the hacksaws are dull. And Adam tries his and it immediately just shatters.
Yeah.
So there's only one hacksaw and the doctor has it, and he kind of realizes we're not meant to cut through the chains, we're meant to cut through our feet. So they're like, okay, yeah, we're not going to do that. We need to figure our way out of here. They eventually figure out, this is through a picture that we see of his wife and daughter tied up, confirming that they were kidnapped by, Jigsaw or whoever set this up. And then anyway, that has a clue on the back about something about closing your eyes. They turn the light off. They find a glow in the dark X. They open that up. It's a locked box. The doctor uses his key to open up the locked box. Inside the locked box is 2 cigarettes and a note that says, "You don't have to shoot Adam to kill him."
With that much blood, with that much poison in your blood.
Right. You're basically saying the guy in the center of the room that shot himself in the head, he shot himself in the head because he was poisoned. He didn't want to die a slow death of poison. He wanted to go out on his own terms. Right. So kind of sort of suggesting that he should poison the cigarette and then give it to him. So he shuts off the lights. They kind of, do a whispering thing real quick. We can't hear what they're saying. They turn the lights back on. He throws him a cigarette. Adam lights the cigarette and then goes through a comically bad fake death. And lays on the ground. And then doctor's like, "Oh, look, I did it. You got to let me go now." And then, of course, an electrical shock hits Adam and he wakes up and screams. They realize it was, they were just faking. And then I believe, that's pretty much all that they do, right? I don't think there's any other real plans to get out. At this point, they run out of time.
Right.
They have, I don't, oh, the other thing that was in the box was a cell phone. And the cell phone can't make outgoing calls. It can only receive calls. And so he gets a call from his wife, basically giving him instructions saying that, hey, you're running out of time. You know, I'm here with your daughter. You know, there's a guy here with a gun. You know, he's going to kill us if you don't kill Adam.
Right.
So anyway, the time runs out. They run out of time. It basically gets to the point of, you know, bad things are going to happen. So, the guy that had, or no, he gets the call, you know, saying that, oh, you failed, you know, bad things are going to happen. And then on the other side, he doesn't know what's happening, but on the other side, his wife actually wrestles the gun out of the guy's hand. And there's like a fight and shots fired and all kinds of stuff going on over there, but he thinks it's just his family getting shot.
Right.
So he just like full on panics and just freaks out. So, you know, the Danny Glover ends up coming over. Again, the doctor doesn't know any of this, but Danny Glover ends up coming over because he's been watching the house.
Yep.
So he comes over there and he helps wrestle the gun away. Anyway, we find out that the gun is held by this guy named Zeb, who was an orderly at the hospital that the doctor worked at. And so then we see that Zeb is the one that's been watching the cameras. Zeb is the one that's been doing it. So Zeb is apparently Jigsaw.
Right.
So Zeb doesn't get to kill the wife and daughter, but he's still going to try to complete the rest of it. He jumps in the car and he drives to the location where the doctor is because he's going to go shoot him. And Danny Glover ends up chasing him there.
Yeah.
And at this point, the doctor is freaking out. Like he's freaking out. So he's, you know, while they're coming into the area, the doctor just straight up goes nuts and just saws his own foot off.
Yes.
And then he gets the gun, he puts the bullet in the gun, and then he shoots Adam in the shoulder. But again, we don't know that. He just said she shoots him and he's like, I did it. You know, it's done. It's over. And you know, and again, Zeb, you know, kind of comes in at that point and then goes, it's too late. You know, you had until 6 o'clock. It's after 6 o'clock. You know, those are the rules. And so, you know, he goes to, you know, shoot the doctor. And then Adam jumps up, you know, having still, you know, survived and still being alive, and wrestles Zeb. They wrestle around and whatever. And Zeb ends up getting killed.
His face smashed in with the toilet.
Right. Right. Yeah. So yeah, Zeb ends up getting killed. Adam is still chained up. And the doctor is like, okay, I'm bleeding to death because I cut off my own foot.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get help. The door is open. Zeb opened the door. I'm going to go get help. I will be back. So he leaves the door, right? And as he leaves the door, we then see the guy who was dead in the middle of the room stand up. Now, this is the real Jigsaw. Yes. Who was, again, alluded to earlier that he likes to watch the things that he sets up. So his ideal point of watching would be to like literally be a body in the middle of this room. So, you know, he gets up, you know, he peels the fake, you know, viscera off of his head. And then he looks at Adam and he goes, the key to your chains is in that bathtub. And then he walks to the door, says game over, and then closes the door.
Yep.
And that's the end of the movie.
We also find out that Zeb had a tape on him as well, that his job was to make sure this completed because he was being poisoned.
Right, yeah. So he was just another victim of Jigsaw, and he had to do this in order for his things. Now, okay, so now we'll jump into the traps here. So we'll start with the earlier traps that were before this one. One was a guy that was in a razor wire maze that had to wiggle his way through the razor wire maze to get out, and he had 2 hours to do so.
Yes.
And his genius plan, I will say genius plan, was to just belly flop on top of all of the razor wire and then wiggle his whole body around to make sure that, I guess, he got cut as much as possible. Maybe he really did want to die. I don't know what happened, but essentially they say he was cut so deep that they found stomach acid on the ground. Like, that's how deep he had been cut. So, he obviously died. The door sealed. He never made it out. And he cut a little skin chunk of like a Jigsaw puzzle piece, which is why they call him Jigsaw.
Right. Now, Jigsaw never called himself Jigsaw. It's just what the media and, like the Zodiac Killer.
Right.
Right.
Right. So the second one was a guy that was covered in flammable gel, then given the only light source he has is a open flame candle, and he's been given a slow acting poison. He likes that.
Yeah.
And then he has, I don't know, however, some undefined amount of time to
before the candle burns. Yeah.
Well, again, it's before he dies of the poison. So, I mean, there's like multiple different time limits. I don't know why he bothered with. Anyway, so there's all these numbers all over the walls, and he says that the code, the combination to the safe is on the wall. Yeah. And he has to try to find the right combination before the time runs out. Yep. You want to talk about, should we talk about after the traps, how ridiculous they are, or do you want to go into it while we describe that?
Well, just go into how ridiculous. I mean, that could be a low point though, too. So,
I mean, it is, but
yeah. Let's talk about, that's why the traps are kind of separate. It's like how stupid they are.
Okay, well, the razor wire maze, whatever, man. If that's what you're into, that's fine. I mean, he had 2 hours, so I mean, there's ways to do it, right?
Yeah.
That guy just failed. He just, I guess, panicked. Whatever the hell he did, he failed. It was bad news bears. So this second one, that is just unfair, man. I mean, like, there's numbers all over the walls. You don't know if the combination is the beginning of those numbers, the middle, the end. I mean, it could be any combination. It's not like they're grouped or anything. There's just numbers everywhere. There's no way in hell, without any clue, there's no way in hell you would ever figure that out.
Correct. It's an unfair. Yeah, it's an unfair game.
Right. I mean, it would be like you'd have to have insane odds to pick the right set of numbers out of like the thousands all over the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, and there was broken glass on the floor. If that wasn't bad enough, there was broken glass on the floor. I mean, just ridiculous. I'm like, there's no way anybody would survive that. But anyway, the guy ended up catching himself on fire, which is probably the easiest way to die in that room.
Oh yeah.
The third one was a lady who had like a reverse bear trap attached to her head. That essentially, if the timer went out, it would like break her head open like a nut. Yeah. And to get the key, she had to cut open what he says a body's stomach, but what turns out to be a live person.
Yep.
He has to cut open his stomach, find the key in his stomach, and then open up the lock. And she only has like
a minute
to do so. Like some of these time, like
right, you get 6 hours, 2 hours, maybe 10 minutes, 1 minute.
Right. I'm like, whoa, like what is this? Like, why would you need that much of a time? Like, why? You know how hard it is to find a piece of something inside a human body?
Yes, he is very unfair with who he gives the most time to.
Yeah, and then somehow she survives. Okay, she gets the key, she unlocks it like a half a second before the thing goes off, and she gets it off her head.
Yep.
And she is actually thankful because she was just like a junkie that didn't give a shit about her life, and then this incident made her realize that she really wanted to live.
Correct.
So she's actually thankful to Jigsaw for doing this to her.
Yeah.
We don't get any more of that in this movie, but we will in the other ones.
We will.
So there's that one, and then of course that's the third trap, and then the fourth trap is this bathroom one. Now, again, Adam doesn't get any instructions.
Nope.
Like
his instructions are basically die.
Right. It's like, yeah, like no, you can't do anything. There's nothing to do. Just kind of survive. But why didn't he even say that? Like your job is to survive for 6 hours. Like, okay, you know, that's fine. But then we're not even given that much. We're given nothing.
Right. Other than cut off your foot, or the key was on your body that went down the drain.
Right. But that's the thing is, like, it went down the drain. So I guess we'll get into this. Do you want to get into it now, or do you want to get into it later on when it comes up again?
Later on.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
So, basically, oh, yeah, the key's in there. And then he closes the door and shuts the light off.
Right.
Like,
okay. You failed.
Right. Like, what? You didn't give him a rule. You didn't give him any rules. You didn't give him any, like, anything to follow. How are you now saying he failed? What did he fail? You didn't even give him anything to do.
Correct. It's
just frustrating.
Well, I mean, yeah, the point is, like, I don't kill people. You know, they do it to themselves, other people do. But it's like, okay, he's not dead. He's alive. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, leaving him in the bathroom to die of starvation is killing him.
Right. Well, again, there'll be two main points that I'll bring up in the third movie at this point. But, it's just very, very unfair.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, the other traps, I wouldn't really call them traps. They're just like, you know, booby traps. Like, people just die. That's it. There's no, like, there's no, like, way to get out of it or anything.
Right. Essentially, Adam and Lawrence had 6 hours cut off their own foot.
Well, even then, the door was locked.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, whatever.
Your trap, your trap is saw off your own foot so you don't get killed.
Right. But, like, okay. So, like, if the doctor somehow managed to get the gun and he had his one bullet, what if he shot him with every intent of killing him and didn't kill him or missed?
Right. Yep.
Now Adam knows that he is willing to kill him. So there's literally no other chance that he would have to kill. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
The more you think about it, I mean, first time you watch it, you don't think about
that.
No. So yeah, the first time you watch it, it's a good movie. It is fun. It's amazing. You only think about it later on, like when you watch it more than once, is when you start to really think about, all right, thinking back on this is not fair at all.
Correct.
But like
19 years ago, we weren't thinking that. We're like, holy crap, horror is great again in America. Let's do this.
Well, I don't know about that. But
compared to what we had, it's...
So, I mean, it was, But again, every rewatch, I get more upset. We're like, I thought you were supposed to mean something, Jigsaw. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you think too much about these things, and it's like, what an asshole.
Yes. Why don't you go into your highlights, though?
Highlights. Let's see. I mean, I like Jigsaw in his literal assassin robe with his hidden blade. Like, I mean, like, he was literally like an assassin. He acted and dressed exactly like
60-year-old assassin.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I like the concept of Saw. I mean, the idea of it is, at least it's fun. You know what I mean? It's something to think about, something to like go, what would you do in that situation? Right. Like, how would you try to get out of this? You know, all of these things. Right. It's fun. It's fun to think about. I mean, the mystery of it, while you're watching it, like, who is Jigsaw? Why is he doing this? Like, what is going on? Because in this first movie, you have no idea.
Oh, we had no idea what to expect.
Right. You had no idea what was going on. It's like, why is he doing this? Who is it? Like, you don't even know who he is or what he looks like until the very end.
Right.
So yeah, this first one does a really good job with the mystery of it. And again, it's like, they give you Zeb, but even the first time I watched it, I'm like, I don't think he's the guy, because like he doesn't feel like heartless enough. Like,
he's squirrely. Right.
I'm like, yeah, it feels like something's wrong. Like, I mean, again, I thought maybe he was like his henchman or something. I didn't figure out that he was also under a test. Obviously, you don't figure that out till later, but I thought he was like, he's some kind of henchman, or he's somebody like he's blackmailing or something. I figured it was something like that. Like, he's not really into this.
Right, and then we have to be. I just want to be clear. This first one is considered a crime thriller. It's not straight up horror, as we see as these continue.
Right. No, I mean, I like the twists. I mean, I like that there's like multiple twists,
Oh yeah,
you know, because you
and
get like,
all the clues are there too. I feel that it's not like Shyamalan level twists. Where
no,
you're
yeah,
lied to.
they don't come out of left field. I mean, obviously, you're not going to figure it out the first time. It's like
No.
they're little things, but when you watch it the second time, you see it. You know.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they're there a bit. But yeah, but they're fun. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you get the one big twist where it's like, oh, it's Zeb, and they're like, nah, I don't know. I don't know if it's him or not. And then you get the big twist at the end, you know, where he like literally stands up, the body that was there the entire time, and he stands up, and it was him the whole time. It was a big twist. The first time I watched it, I remember being like shocked by it.
I pretty sure I said, "Holy shit!"
Right. I mean, and just the effects are done really well. I mean, there's some questionable ones in there. Like, I mean, whoever was doing the makeup on Carrie Elwes was not doing a good job. But I think just about everything else was good. I mean, like when he first was in there, he had like, I know they were trying to make him look like gaunt and sick, but they literally just put like two like kind of black circles on his cheeks.
Yeah.
And he looked like kind of like a clown when he in the very beginning of it. And then at the end, like after he cuts his leg off, they literally like covered him in white paint.
Oh, he looked like a 70s or 80s style zombie.
Right. I mean, I was like, wow. Like, yeah, I understand you're getting a little pale, but like he looks literal like white, like alabaster white.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, those were not particularly great, but all the rest of the effects were good. I mean, all the trap effects and all the, you know, blood and stuff. It was all done well.
Yeah.
What about you?
Any other highlight? No, I like even on rewatch. Like I said, this was, you know, the Saw movies the wife doesn't like to watch with me. But I go, even the first one, like realistically, the first one is tame in comparison.
Well, yeah, they just try to go bigger and bolder with the rest of them.
Yeah. But as you said, the twist, the clues, like this is a movie that you have to watch more than once. Then you will start piecing everything together. It is a mystery in that way, you know.
But yeah, but that's the thing. You have to be careful, right? Like you watch it, and you're like, "Ooh, look at all these clues I didn't get before," and then you also realize, like, "Wow, these fucking traps are ridiculously hard. Like, there's no way in hell anybody would ever get out of this."
Well, yes, and we'll obviously get to that one with number 3. But no, I mean, I thought, like I said, the twist of the guy getting up, I'm like, holy shit! Like that was, I don't think that was something anyone saw coming.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, when I saw it, I was shocked. I was like, what? But everybody that I know of didn't see it coming. So
no, and yeah, like the acting. Bad at times. I'm pointing out Adam in particular, Lee Winnell.
I don't think Adam was bad. I think they told him to like be an angry young person,
right? And
he was like overdoing that. I think just because, you know, they didn't know how an angry young person should act.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I think Danny Glover was kind of on point of the obsessiveness, especially when his partner was like blown to smithereens, you know. But as you find out who Jigsaw is, you go, there's no way Jigsaw could have been that person underneath the cloak. It doesn't seem possible. You know what I mean? And you know that the traps, you know, while first introduced to us, they are twisted, and that's great. I love it. You know, it gives the illusion to like extreme body horror, extreme like visceral stuff. And yeah, you don't see the guy's head explode from the shotguns. You just kind of see his head just blood running down the body. But I like the fact that, you know, Jigsaw is so meticulous. He's like the Zodiac Killer on 11 with like how far ahead he is of really everything. And that's twisted. And it's great for just being a person, you know, no supernatural things to it. So
well,
I like that.
Obsessive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he. I mean, he shows his intellect really through everything that that he's in. So I enjoy that. It's not just a mindless killing machine that's Jason Voorhees. Yeah, and the hint of the lore. I like the hint of the lore without fully explaining everything as well.
What didn't they explain?
What?
I said, what didn't they explain?
His true reasoning behind everything. Eventually we get it. Takes many movies to get to it.
Well, not really.
Well,
Within these 3, we got it.
well, I'm saying in the first one, though.
Well, we don't get all of it. We do know most of it.
Yeah. But they don't go into just, exposition overload, I don't feel.
Right.
All right. What about your low points?
Okay. I will say both the Doctor and Adam, neither one of them can throw for shit.
Oh, no.
I mean, every single time they throw something back and forth, they fucking miss, and it hits the wall or hits, like, next to them, or, like, I don't know what the hell they're doing. It's a miracle that it even got within their reach.
Yes.
They were so bad at throwing. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, if you're 10 feet away from somebody, it's not hard to toss it to them. I mean, I am terrible at any kind of sport, and I can do that.
Right. I completely agree with that. I saw that too. I'm like, what? How, did they not learn how to throw in their life?
Right. Like, I don't understand. Like, even if they're not technically there and they're just filming it, right? And somebody off screen is throwing it to them, but like, you can still throw it to them. That's okay.
Yeah.
It was like just distracting. Like, everything they threw, they missed, or like they threw it and hit the wall. I'm like, you guys miss with this stuff and you're screwed.
Right.
I mean, they were screwed anyway. But,
Yes.
I mean, I will say, the Doctor's family, their acting sucked. I mean, his wife and his daughter, man, holy crap, they were terrible. I don't know if they just like scraped up at the last minute to find him or something. I don't know what it was, but they were just bad in this movie, especially the daughter. I know I'm critical of child actors, but she's terrible.
Daddy, there's a man.
Daddy, there's a bad man in my room. Like, holy Jesus! Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then I hate this. Through all of these, they keep bringing it back up like it's some kind of like evil thing, and it drives me insane. Is the stupid puppet laugh?
Yes.
Okay, because like when I was, I don't know, 12, you get one of those little like laugh boxes, right? You press the button, and it's got a stupid like
maniacal
electronically stupid sounding laugh that like no one would ever believe is a real human laugh.
Yes.
And it's just stupid. And it was a thing that was like, I hate this immediately, right? And you throw it away and you never touch it again. They use the laugh all the goddamn time. And like it's supposed to be like, quote unquote evil, maniacal laughter. No, it's just stupid. And it sucks and I hate it. And it needs to go away. They keep doing it over and over and over again. Like it's spooky. It's not.
Well, it is spooky. It's in the Goosebumps TV show for kids. All right.
Exactly. It's like, come on, guys.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Yes, the family acting was horrendous. I don't think particularly Shawnee Smith did a great job in this either.
Oh, she was a very minor character, though.
Yeah, I don't think she gets any better as the franchise continues. Either.
No, she really doesn't.
And I wish, I don't think they ever explained the inconsistent times of these traps. And it's seemingly like, okay, he was watching through video cameras on the other traps. He wasn't there, so why this particular trap or scenario, I don't want to call it a trap, it's a scenario, was he, front row seat for?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I really didn't like was there's a lot, like he always says, even in this movie or, the other movies, he says that he always gives people a
Yes.
chance to live, to prove themselves, right?
Yep.
There's multiple people in this movie that just have no chance at all.
Right. And
Right.
we'll go into that as a whole throughout, we'll see this entire series so far. The guy who was alive that Amanda had to dig out the key from his stomach.
Right.
What did he do?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, he didn't have a chance to live at all.
No.
Like, the way that he recorded the messages, he was already supposed to be dead.
Yep.
Which means that Jigsaw killed him.
Right.
And then he tries to, I mean, again, this is later on, but he tries to say that he doesn't kill anybody, which is a fucking lie, because he had to kill that guy. Right. Or he was planning to, anyway.
But he wasn't. As you said, Adam, zero chance, other than, he had no rules. So Jigsaw doesn't kill the people that he's playing the game for, but everyone else in the scenario, in the trap, are expendable.
Yeah. Or like the wife and daughter. Like,
yeah.
What chance did they have, and why? Why would they get picked? They don't even need to be there.
Correct.
You could just say you got to kill Adam by 6 o'clock, or you don't get out.
Yeah.
It would have been the same thing. I guess it would have been harder to show why he panicked later, I guess. But yeah, why would you deliberately? Because Zeb was instructed to kill them.
Right.
That was his job. He was supposed to kill them. How unfair is that?
Right.
Not only to Zeb, but also to them.
Yeah. And Zeb seemed to actually care for John Kramer. You know what I mean?
In the tiny scene that we saw, yeah.
Right. But it seems odd that Zeb would be having to play the game. I don't know if we ever find out why Zeb was having to play a game.
No, they never. Well, I don't know. Maybe in these later ones they go back to it. I
don't think so.
Yeah, I doubt it.
So what was his punishment? What was he doing so wrong? Because Lawrence Gordon saying, "Oh, this unknown man," didn't really give a shit about him. But Zeb's like, "Oh, his name's John." Like, yeah, that's great.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, it's very unfair to a lot of people in this movie. It gets worse as we go along. Right. But this movie, yes, I just wanted to point out that it started off immediately. It wasn't like there was never people that got an unfair shake. No, there was. It happens in every movie.
Correct. Unless you're the main player, you generally don't have a chance.
Right. Exactly.
You're just a pawn for the other person's game.
Right.
So yeah, he kills plenty of people. But yeah, that's kind of my low point. I'm gonna say this as the series as a whole is he's like taking the Batman Begins way. Oh, you don't kill people. I don't have to save you. Well,
yeah, you do realize that if you just watch someone die and don't do something, that's still legally murder. You can be convicted for that.
Yes. So
I'm pretty sure if it matters in the legal world, it matters in Batman's world. Okay, dude. Right. You're gonna have to do it.
But that's the John Kramer's way of thinking.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, no, that's fucking lie.
but that's the thing I'm saying is that guy that was quote unquote the body that she was supposed to cut the key out of, he wasn't dead, but Jigsaw had to have tried to kill him in order to make him the body. Right? Because I don't think it was part of her killing him as part of that.
No.
So again, he would have broken his own rules. I don't kill people. You would have had to have killed that guy in order to make a body for her plan.
Yep.
Yeah, he broke his own rules immediately. But.
Yes. All right, so we're doing tetanus shots because, by golly, the Rust Belt, the Steel Belt, we'll call it Detroit.
Well, it's an unnamed city, but I would say my heart wants to say it's Detroit.
Yes. Even if you survive, you have to get many, many tetanus shots.
Right.
So that's our olives for this series. I'm going to go with this series. So how many tetanus shots out of 10 do you give it?
I mean, I know I'm being critical of certain parts of it, and that's just because I've seen it a bunch of times.
Yes.
But I'd say, I mean, overall, I have seen it a bunch of times, so obviously it's a movie that I've rewatched. So
Yeah.
it has to be above 7. So I'll give it a 7.5 tetanus shots out of 10.
7.5. Yeah, I mean, it's now. I said I haven't seen Spiral, or we haven't seen Saw X. I know I've seen more than you, but I'm saying right now this is probably the best one in the series so far of the 8 I've seen. And that being said, you know, I will probably give it an 8.5 tetanus shots out of 10. It is something I do like to rewatch. It is, now that you've seen it so much, it is now just it could be a background movie, but it's still interesting to watch. Yeah, do I get angrier sometimes when watching it? Maybe, because you see no one all, you know, can't throw shit.
Well, again, when you start thinking about the traps too much,
Yes,
you realize all the things that suck about it. But overall, like I said, overall, I do enjoy it. I have watched it multiple times. So
right.
Okay, so now we got Saw 2, which came out shortly after.
A year after.
Yeah. Now this one's a little bit simpler. That's not quite as convoluted, right? So there's an A plot and a B plot, but I guess they're both pretty straightforward if you just go one and then the other.
Yeah, I'll just do the A plot. I'll call it, it's essentially the wrapper, right? The B plot. I'm gonna say Detective Matthews is the B plot.
Yeah.
So the B plot of Detective Matthews, played by Donnie Wahlberg, is they figure out where Jigsaw is hiding. They go and capture him. He's like clearly not doing okay health wise, you know, kind of in a motorized wheelchair. And he's like, you know, talking about all the stuff, and he's like, yeah, you can, you know, they have like a SWAT team with them and just trying to check in the warehouse that he's in, and they find a bunch of monitors, and like, holy shit, there's a game going on. And somehow, in the awesome CCTV world of 2005,
Lots of big flesh-colored monitors.
Yeah, was able to tell easily that it was his son in a room with a bunch of other people, and clearly Amanda as well, because he just can pick those people out very well. You know, Jigsaw says, "Hey, I want to play a game. The rules are quite simple. Sit here and talk to me." That's it. That's all he has to do.
Yeah, literally says, "You sit here and talk to me for 2 hours," because there's a timer next to the monitors.
Yeah,
and he says, "If you sit here and talk to me, but the entire time that before that timer runs out, I promise your son will be safe. Yeah, you'll find him safe and unharmed at the end of that timer."
Yep. So, and you know, it kind of cuts back and forth, but yeah, essentially he gets angrier and angrier. And yeah, he clearly is not playing by the rules, even though he's clearly reminded multiple times about that. And he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, old school, until you tell me, because this is the Detective Matthews that everyone knows." So then that kind of leads into the A plot, right? Where we see a group of people wake up in a house, to say the least. You know, and they're all just kind of like, "Oh man," all waking up, all drugged, trying to figure out how they got here. Some of them, you know, talking about a handful of them have done time. They're trying to figure out what's going on. They have a tape because Amanda's there, and she seems to be the only one that's going on. She's like, "Oh shit, I'm back here again." Finds a tape and plays it that there is a poison that is in their bodies, and there's antidotes throughout the house. They have to try to find it, and you know, their whole rules. And they're going around. They end up finding a key, and it says, you know, doesn't it say "don't open"?
It's they find a key and they say, "Don't use this key to open the door to this room."
Right.
So
they do.
Yeah, they immediately do. And of course, Genius, like, even though they're opening the door with the key, puts his eye in the peephole.
And then, boom, shot. Dead.
Right, yeah. There's a gun on the other side of the peephole that shoots him through the eye.
Right.
One guy down.
Yep. Immediately. Not much backstory to him. So yeah, essentially we have Amanda, we have Dr. Matthew's son, we have, I would say, a preppy girl, a very tough, muscular bro, clearly meth head, seemingly, right? Uni,
Which one is that?
Uni,
Oh, Obi.
Obi, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, uh, yeah, and then just other guy who recognizes some prison tattoos, saying, "Hey, we did time. I know what it's like." And the bro's just like, "Bro, back off, bro."
Yeah, and there's the one the girl, the skinny girl.
Oh, yeah, that looks like she would do anything for $5.
Well, not quite that bad, but yeah, looks like she's done some time on the streets for sure.
Oh yeah, and shot up as well. So yeah, so they're just figuring that stuff out, and we get all kind of exposition dumps, and a timer goes off, and the door opens, and yeah, all they do is wait. Essentially,
well, they also get the one clue that they get in this room is that there's a safe in this room,
and if you look in the back of your minds,
everybody has the combination to this safe. You just have to, it's all in the back of your minds, and like no one does anything with this information.
Very clear.
Right.
Very clear. And especially on rewatches, like, wow, they are dumb.
Right. But yeah, I mean, even the first time I watched this, I'm like, okay, look in the back of your head. Like, it's very obvious that's what they're trying to say.
Well, and considering multiple of them touch the back of their necks in this room.
Right. They're like, ow, my neck hurts.
Right.
Nobody looks or anything.
Yeah. Yep. They just ignore all that. So they go into the next room. The next room is they find. There's like, hey, here's, exit. They break it open. Like, oh, this is wood. Bro finds just a conveniently placed Negan bat and smashes the door, and then steel on the outside. I think they have 2 hours before the poison just destroys their entire bodies. They start bleeding out of every orifice.
Well, that's what they're told. They're told they have 2 hours, but the timer back in the warehouse already says like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yep.
And they don't get out of that room for another like 10. So they really only have an hour and a half at this point.
Yeah.
And you also got to realize they're getting slowly gassed with nerve gas that's being piped through the ventilation system. Right. So they start fading almost immediately.
Oh yeah.
So they are like down to like 75% at an hour and a half.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, we'll get into it, but yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So essentially, they kind of go through the house a little bit. They go down into the basement. Anyway, the B plot is tech team arrives trying to trace the signal, and that's about it. Then we go back to it, and they find that antidotes are written for the house. One's in the room. One is in the safe. Right. So anyway, they go, okay, here's this Obi. What's an Obi? That's me. He's like, all right, Obi, there's, you burned people's veins by being a drug dealer. Hey, there's 2 antidotes in this clearly furnace. Go get them out.
Oh, the other guy was a drug dealer. Obi, they said, there's 2 in there because one is my gift to you for helping me kidnap everyone else.
Right.
And they said, and the other one is there for you to redeem yourself to the other people. And so they immediately go, what the hell? You kidnapped us?
Yeah, so they kill him, tell him to go in there. We'll talk about this trap later on, but essentially Obi dies without getting any antidotes. So they make it to they find the kind of door opens to the next room, or they barge their way in, and they're like, hey, here's a pit. Oh, here's the drug dealer, the bro, right?
Right.
You're a drug dealer. Here's all the needles that you use on everyone, and it's just a pit full of needles. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing that, and throws Amanda into it. Like, find the key to unlock the door. They get the key, but he fumbles it and, doesn't open.
Because,
right?
okay, yeah, again, they're given a ridiculous time limit again. Like, they
Right.
already have a time limit.
Yep.
Why does it matter how much time they spend in each trap?
Yes.
They already have a time limit before they all die. What the fuck does it matter how fast they do something? Like,
Right.
don't you realize that nerve gas is going to make people do shit slower?
Uh-huh.
Like, what the hell are you thinking?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. I know that's a big sticking point of this. So anyway, they find out, hey, we all done time. What about you, Daniel? It's like, I didn't do any time. You look like Juvie. Because he looks like, Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day in the early 2000s. So anyway, yeah, they're just trying to find ways out. Eventually, I think the preppy girl kind of dies because she's smaller, so therefore the nerve gas affects people differently. The bro goes back into the room and he sees, like, all of a sudden decides to check on the back of the neck of the dead guy's thing that got shot in the face. Oh, there's a number here. He's like, all right, hey, there's numbers here, bro. He's like, I just want to see your numbers, and goes around and finds Obi's. Checks the girl. He starts fighting with the black guy. He's like, hey, we can do this together. He's like, just show me your number, man. He's like, no, and the bro gets the crap kicked out of him, but then he gets Negan back and kills the guy, gets his number, and then just goes through like a rampage trying to get to everyone else. Meanwhile, the girl that needs a sandwich goes into her trap, gets her trap essentially. Let's say she doesn't survive. As I said, we'll get the traps. There's antidote in the glass box. She has to shove her hands in there, and she succumbs to that. He gets that number, and then essentially Amanda, Daniel are all left, and they're being chased by the bro. Cut back to B storyline, like, hey, we found this house. We're gonna go do it. But as Daniel finds out everyone was wrongfully imprisoned by his dad, Detective Matthews. And they all find that out, and Detective Matthews finds it out. It's like, hey, you planted evidence on every single one of these people, including Amanda. So I will lead you there after he beats the shit out of Jigsaw. And because he's sitting on clearly a freight elevator in the warehouse, right? Did you notice there's a freight elevator like right away?
Well, yeah, it had the slats and everything.
Yeah, so he, Jigsaw's like, all right, I will take you there. And so we cut to him kind of going through the house, get into the house, and he sees the dead bodies. And
well, the first clue you get that something is going on is that all the bodies smell really bad.
Right. So they have been there.
Bodies don't smell real bad right away.
Right. So he's going there. He's being chased, and while that's happening, they find out go to the house and realize, the tech team finds it and is like, oh, this is where it's being broadcasted. This is hit stop on the tape. Oh, this is taped. This isn't even live. So the SWAT team goes to a very similar house that looks just like the house that they were in. It's like, oh, this isn't the right house. So anyway, they find their way. Amanda and Daniel find their way into the bathroom from Saw 1. Right? And, the bro's like, hey, I just need your numbers. They attack him. He's like, well, you won't be able to know what your own number is. And he, turns around and cuts the number off the back of his neck. He's like, I got it right here. And, I need your numbers. They eventually attack and kill him because Daniel cuts his throat with the used old rusty dull hacksaw. And then we're kind of just like, all right, cool.
Well, we also get the definitive Adam died.
Yes, there is a dead body in there.
Yeah, because we see Zeb's dead body and we also see Adam's dead body in there.
Correct. So anyway, the timer goes off and a safe opens where they were sitting, and there's the son alive and safe in the safe. And then we get, Detective Matthews doesn't know anything about this. And then he looks in the bathtub, and well, it's Amanda wearing the pig mask, but I don't think we mentioned the pig mask. And she, shoves the needle. He wakes up, chained to a pipe, and yeah, she goes, "Game over," and slams the door shut. End of movie.
Yep.
Like I said, these are very non-linear movies. So the traps that we kind of see is we get a trap of a guy who has, what'd you call it? The Iron Maiden mask, essentially.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like a face mask with a bunch of nails in it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he has, once again, a whole minute to fully understand what's going on. And he has to remove the key that's been shoved and sewn into his eye. And he says, "Hey, this is where you gotta do it." He doesn't do it in time. He can't even cut his eye, and he dies. That's the trap. Once again, why do some people have quick traps and others have hours? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing I don't get. I don't get what this super time limit. I mean, I guess that the filmmakers are trying to like increase the tension by like going, "Oh my god, he only has a minute." But like realistically, like why? Why would you only give someone 60 seconds to do that? That's not an accurate test. Right. Even somebody that went right down to it, if they couldn't find the key immediately, they're dead.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, because yeah, he sees like an X-ray of like the key is somewhere in his eye, but like again, even if you immediately stick a knife in your eye, you're not necessarily going to get it on the first try. And then you got to like figure out where it is, which way the key goes, like blindly behind your head. Like dude, do you understand how difficult this stuff is? Like, when you put this stuff on yourself in a dry run and see how long it'll take, I guarantee you it'll be at least 5.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, like some of these people, like, yeah, they genuinely have the will to live and the will to do this stuff. But like, yeah, they they don't have enough time. There literally is no one that can do that in that amount of time.
Correct. They expect everyone to be like an escape artist.
Right, yeah. It's like they expect everyone to understand the full, like,
brevity.
Full understanding of what is happening to them immediately.
Yes.
Like, I mean, a minute is not even long enough to fully take in what the hell is going on.
Right. And what if they pulled on that before they get the instructions?
Right.
They're dead. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's again, the ones in the first one, like the 2 hours to get out of the reservoir maze, that's, I mean, again, I'm not going to say fair because that sucks for anybody, but at least like, okay, like I could see how that's doable.
Right.
Right. I mean, yeah, the guy with the slow acting poison, we don't know how long he actually had because he caught himself on fire first. Right.
Yes.
I mean, he may have had 4 hours. I mean, who knows? Who knows how long the candle would have lasted or what was going on? Because, I mean, there was also a light in the room.
Yes.
It wasn't bright enough to see everything, which is why he had to bring the candle around with him to read the numbers, but still, like, he wouldn't have been in the dark. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't get why some of these are like, and again, in this movie, right? Why you already have a timer?
Yes.
You already have a timer. These people, again, you say you have 2 hours, which is a fucking lie because by the time they get the tape and listen to the tape, they have an hour and 40, maybe an hour and a half once they get out of the first room they're in.
Yes.
And then again, now you're putting ridiculously tight timers when they're already dying from nerve gas, which is, people are coughing, people are like slowing down, acting like they're really sick and sluggish and stuff immediately. Like, how are you expecting them to do this stuff? Like the pit of needles, 2 minutes?
Yep. They're what?
2 minutes.
1,000 needles?
Right. Like, that's impossible.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I don't understand why that. Again, even if there's no time limit on those things, like if you spend an hour looking through that, you screwed yourself. But at least you could get one.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, the whole thing seemed ridiculous to me.
Oh, absolutely. And then, the traps, we said there is the key to the door that says don't use the key here. That trap that guy was dumb. I mean, dumb.
Yeah.
Obi, essentially the furnace, says, hey, here's two of them in here. He gets one that's not really attached to anything. And he's like, oh, the devil, bow before the devil, or whatever, the devil will be your savior. And they show a handle there to maybe turn off the flames or maybe turn on some water. We don't know what that handle does with the picture of the devil that's there. We never find out because Obi dies to something. Not the flames, because he's not fully engulfed in flames.
Right, and that's the thing is, they break the window on the back of it, and he gets his whole, head and one arm completely out.
Yes.
And the head and arm are not burned.
Right.
So he didn't die of smoke inhalation because his head is not inside of it. Right? He didn't die of gas because his head is outside of it. Yep. He didn't die from burns because, again, he just came out of there and his head and arm are not burned. And he was curled up in a fetal position. He would have been burned if he was about to die from burning.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, I don't understand what happened there or why everyone else just sat there and let him die, didn't pull him out. I don't understand why they didn't do that.
That's a great question.
I get, okay, Obi's probably a dickhead. If he's helping him kidnap people, probably not a selfless guy, right? So I get why, pretty much he could have taken both of those antidotes and tossed them out of the bars in the front.
Yes.
Right? And then sacrificed himself, or at least then tried to get out or something. But at least two people would have lived.
Oh, yeah.
But again, I get why he didn't do that. He's a kind of a shitty person. He's holding on to it because he thinks they're not going to save him unless he has it, right? Yep. I get that. But okay, so he smashed out of the window in the back and they just sat there and just stared at him and then walked away. Why wouldn't you pull him out?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, that whole thing. I don't know. We did see for a split second. That's a little devil head with a hand pointing and it says twist on a knob.
Yep.
So we don't know if that would have, I'm assuming it would have turned off the gas or something. Who knows?
Right. And then the other glass box thing that, first and foremost, probably could have been broken pretty easily. Now, Grant, as flimsy as that antidote was, probably not. But essentially, you just shove your hands into it.
Okay.
Into a reverse glass trap that if you try to take your hand out, it'll get cut. Now, you didn't have to stick both your hands in.
Right. Why would you put both of your hands in there? What is wrong with you?
Right. You could have just put one hand in there, use your fingers, especially she is skinny, her small wrist, that she could have just pushed up, grabbed the antidote, and then been absolutely okay taking it out. Right. But she did the dumb thing.
Yeah, the other thing is, if you look closely, you can see the key is in the lock on the back of that box.
Yes.
So, she didn't even bother, looking around it. But the thing that bothered me, I think, the most in that is, she had her hand in there, and she, barely bumped. I mean, we're talking a tiny little tap of her finger on that antidote, and it just, literally, the plunger slid out, and the antidote went all over the ground.
Right.
So, how was she supposed to get that? You know what I mean? If the tiniest of taps it made it fall apart, how was she supposed to use it?
Correct.
Again, just ridiculous. But again, people are dying. And these are the only ones we even see. She doesn't even listen to her tape. She just, throws it on the ground. We only listen to, 2 tapes. And all the rest of those are just thrown out. We don't even know what the rest of the rooms were.
Correct, because you would assume that each would have a trial to go through.
Right.
We have no idea. The one girl died of the poison, so we have no idea what hers is. We have no idea what the guy's is.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, the guy who got shot in the eye, we don't know what his was. The black dude, we don't know what his was. The well-to-do lady, we don't know what hers was. We don't know what Daniel's was. We don't know what Amanda's was. We don't know what any of these were.
Yeah. It's because they're all just throwaway people in Detective Matthews' game.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I guess we'll get into that later on, but yeah. So I think that's all the traps, other than the Matthews trap of, sit here and listen to me and you'll get your son back. To where, I mean, that one was straightforward. And that one was, he didn't follow the rules and he was punished for it. Yeah, I get that.
Right.
Like, that one is, I'm not going to say fair, but more than fair for that guy.
Oh, probably the easiest trap that anyone's ever had to do.
Right. Well, I guess it's super hard for him because he's impatient and violent. But
right. Yeah. So those are the traps. I'll go into the highlights for myself. I liked that Amanda came back, and the idea was an idea of her being changed. Right. You got to see, the idea of Jigsaw's plan, what he actually wanted people to happen, right? Oh, she used to be a junkie. Oh, she cut herself. She is legit changed. She is following the Bible of Jigsaw, right? And the big twist, couple big twists, but she find out that she was part of it. I think that was a twist that you didn't necessarily see coming right away. On the rewatches, you rewatch it and you go, okay, yeah, you can see a lot of stuff is there. And I think fleshing out John Kramer, they did a fantastic job of it. I think Tobin Bell did a fantastic performance. I think Donnie Wahlberg did great as well. Anyone else in that house? Not so much. I don't think they were necessarily good at what they're doing. I understand this is horror and people are there to die, but I feel that this movie is where the franchise takes that turn where it's more about the deaths than necessarily the plot. It starts to become
not even the plot. But yeah, it's supposed to be Jigsaw gives people a chance to survive, which we see he even broke his own rules in the first movie, so it's not like this is new.
Right.
But you would hope that, they would give people a chance.
Right. And the twist of it being something that's already happened. I don't think you could have seen that coming.
No.
I don't think there's any hints, but it didn't feel like an unfair plot twist. It's just a mystery.
Right.
It's one of those like, oh shit moments. So I think this movie is the franchise starting to be built on the oh shit plot twist and then the traps. That's about it for my highlights. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same for me. The concept of it I thought was cool. I like Jigsaw's origin. And then I like the twist towards the end. So yeah, it's basically the same stuff. So I'll just go into my low points then.
Yeah.
Lows, the stupid puppet laugh. Again, I fucking hate that puppet laugh. It drives me fucking nuts. But I think the biggest thing that bothers me about this movie is, again, I've already talked about it, but the people dying without any chance or time of anything to do. Like, they really have no chance. Like, no one in that house had any chance. Right. And I think that also pisses me off is that the kid and Amanda already had the antidote.
Yeah, because they're not coughing one bit, and no one noticed it. No one noticed that.
Well, again, by the time that they would have noticed it, it was too late anyway.
Right.
Like, they were already sick and stuff.
Yeah.
And it just kind of pisses me off. Like, Amanda was like, literally touching every surface in the entire house, like looking for stuff, and she completely misses the one painting that has an X painted on it.
Right.
I mean, like, how did she miss that? I guess it's because it was a plot point, but like, really? You couldn't have sped this along, like seeing that it's already been an hour and no one's opened anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing that bothered me in this movie is, when Amanda gets thrown into the needle pile, and she finds the key and she pulls it out, it very clearly has an antidote attached to it.
Yes.
It has a syringe filled with the glowing green liquid, which all the rest of the antidotes did. And he picks it up, tries to use the key. It locks before, the timer goes off before he's able to use the key, and he throws it down, and they never talk about it again.
Yep.
Like, you literally had one right there. You could have saved the as you call her, the preppy girl in the hallway that was near death.
Yeah.
You could have saved her right there.
Yep.
But they didn't. Again, just these impossible traps. They're just there's no reason for them to have a secondary timer on them. Like, there's no way you can realistically be like, hey, somebody that's poisoned with nerve gas is going to be able to jump into a pile of needles, pull out literally a needle in a haystack, jump back out, and open up a door in 2 minutes. There's no way. There's no possible way that will ever happen. Like, what the glass thing, yeah, I understand that she stupidly stuck both their hands in there, which she would only put one hand in there. She would have very easily been able to get out.
Yes.
But we don't even see the rest of them. Or like Obi, he didn't even do anything. He just like curled up, and then they broke the window, and they had an opportunity to save him. They just left him there.
Yep.
It's just bizarre. The whole thing was just bizarre.
Any other little points?
I'm trying to think. Hold on. Just the kind of the throwbacks to one that they had, I felt were pretty bad in this movie. In the next movie, I think they're good. In this movie, I don't know what the hell was going on, because they purposely showed, oh, look, this is the bathroom from the first movie, and they don't give you anything. They don't give you any information as to what happened, what's going on, why things are happening that way, or what's going on. It just here it is. Yeah, we got a throwback. That's it. Done.
Hey, remember Saw 1?
Right, yeah, that's it. And then it's and then she gets to do the same thing that Jigsaw did at the end. Game over.
Yeah.
Just dumb.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I couldn't read my own writing. It's what the hell does that say?
Yeah. For me, as we said, that the very obvious clue of check your neck. And like I said, the bro's neck, I think his name is Xavier, we see his neck most of the movie, and there was nothing there until the very end when he has to cut it off of him.
Well, yeah. Well, that was the thing. If they would have had the numbers very clearly visible on the back of their head, we would have noticed it. Right. So they had to purposely take it out so that we couldn't see it before he was looking. Right. But again, we never even got it. It was oh yeah, the numbers are in the back of their mind and they're in the order of the rainbow. What the fuck does that mean?
Right.
And some of them are different colors, but what is the color of what's the order of the rainbow?
Well, considering one of them was white, I'm pretty sure it's not a color of the rainbow.
Right. I was white, red, and 3 of them were green.
Yes.
It's okay, so what
rainbow are you looking at?
Right. Is this a colorblind rainbow? He thinks 3 of the colors are green?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Again, all of the traps in the house, I think, were very badly done. I think the trap with Detective Matthews, you sit here, you listen to me talk for 2 hours, and your kid will be back to you safe and sound. That's great. It's awesome. He. Oh,
that is it's a mind fuck trick.
Right. And that was a great trick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But the whole house, literally the entire house, was just full of bullshit. Every single trap in that house is bullshit.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that the kid and Amanda didn't have numbers on their neck.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yes, it doesn't. You're correct. It doesn't matter. But, Amanda's whole job was just to keep the kid alive. That was it. She was there to start the game and make sure that Daniel stayed alive. That's it.
And she was the plant. And again, when things were obviously stagnating and people are dying early, hey, maybe you help them out. Open up a couple of their doors or something. Half the people didn't even see their room.
Yeah.
They're just so dumb.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the Milo points. It's just some of the stupidity of the traps and the way people died. I'll I'll go first for tetanus shots out of 10. This isn't as good. The first one is a mystery thriller. This one is just upping the shock value as it just, I think every Saw movie tries to up the last one as we go on. This is probably going down to 7 tetanus shots out of 10 for me. How about you?
This one pissed me off quite a bit. I mean, it's not bad overall. It's just like, it's so unfair. And like, this is not even something you pick up on. Like the first one, you pick up on that as you watch it multiple times, but it's still good the first time,
Yeah.
Like this one pissed me off immediately. Like this one, I was pissed off the first time I watched it. I was like, this is so bullshit. This is so unfair. Like we don't even get to see half the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like half of these traps, we don't even get to see them. And the other half is like the people are so near death by the time they get to them, they can't even try them right. So yeah, and then again, they all fell apart. Like, why don't you just start them all off in their own room? Like that would have been fun. That would have been cool. But or something, anything. I think it could have been done a million times better in a bunch of different ways. I think the way that they did it was very sloppy. Anyway, so I give this one a 4.5 tetanus shots out of 10.
Wow.
Again, the part in the warehouse I think is good. Like the parts with Jigsaw actually in them, I think were good. Is that whole house is bullshit.
Yeah.
And it just pisses me off the entire thing.
And that's perfectly fair. Perfectly fair.
Okay, so Saw 3, did this come out like the year later? I know they were doing
all of them were a year apart.
Yeah, I was going to say
1 through 7 were all within a year of each other.
That's what I thought.
They started the Friday the 13th of, let's do one a year.
Yeah, because I remember it was like literally every Halloween.
Every Halloween.
Yeah, that's what I'd watch. So we got Saw 3, which opens up with a scene that's kind of pointless for the rest of the movie, but it's Detective Matthews locked in there. It literally opens up where the last movie closed. Of like, she says game over, closes the door. He's in the room with a flashlight, a gun, and like literally everything that was left in the room. Now there's 3 dead bodies in there instead of 2 that there was before. So it's Adam, Zeb, and Meatball.
Yeah.
Or whatever his name. I don't know. Meatball.
Xavier.
I'm calling him Meatball. He finds the hacksaw and he's like, oh yeah, I'll just cut my foot off. Wait a minute. Why would I cut my foot off when I can literally bash it to a pulp with the toilet bowl or the toilet top or whatever the hell it is? So he does it. He smashes his foot like 10 times with the toilet.
Breaks it.
Top. Yeah, and smashes it to a pulp, then pulls it through the thing and then limps his way out. And then that's all we get. And then it cuts to a doctor in a hotel room.
Yeah.
They don't really tell you it's a hotel room, right? They kind of insinuate that this is her and her husband.
Because he says, I want a divorce.
Right. So, yeah, it's like you're led to believe that, like, they're like a divorce and she does not care, like, at all. Like, she's, like, completely disconnected. And she goes to work and she's a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, literally a surgeon. And, like, yeah, she, like, saves someone's life. And it's, like, the most I don't give a shit, here, I'll just save your life I've ever seen. Like, she just does not care at all. She has, like, she saves a little boy's life and she just has no reaction. Like, she's, like, dead inside.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get cut to another guy who's apparently super upset because his son died in a drunk driving accident like a couple years before, and his daughter like took a little stuffed animal from the dead boy's room and was like sleeping with it, and he was like all upset that she disturbed something in his room.
Right.
And so he like brought it back in the room, and it's like you can see he's like clearly still stuck on this death, which happened years earlier.
Right.
And then that's pretty much it. I'm trying to
he gets attacked.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. When he closes the door, he gets kidnapped
Yep.
by a pig mask. We don't know who the pig mask is, but they get kidnapped.
Right.
And then the doctor also gets kidnapped.
Yep.
And then she gets brought into a big warehouse, and then we see that the person that kidnapped her was Amanda, who like upped her style game since the last movie. Now she has
very
like,
much so.
very stylish clothes and dyed hair, and she's wearing like bright red lipstick now. Anyway, so she brings him in, and we see Jigsaw now like on his like deathbed.
Literal deathbed.
Yeah, he's like, got a mask on, like he can barely like move or talk, like he's not doing well. So
Right.
essentially, I guess it doesn't really count as a trap. I guess it
I will call Jigsaw's part plot A. Because there's more on that than
right. Yeah, there's plot A, plot B. So this is plot A of the Doctor and Jigsaw. I guess there's a trap because it doesn't really, you can't explain what's happening without it. But essentially, they put like a shotgun collar on her, just literally like a bunch of shotgun shells like pointing at her neck. So like, and it's synced up to Jigsaw's heartbeat. So if Jigsaw dies, she dies.
yes.
So her whole game is, can she keep him alive?
To see through the game.
To see through this game, which then they mention there's a game going on. Because literally they didn't tell you before this point. They said, oh yeah, there's a game going on. But he has to, this person in this game has to reach the end of the game. And if you keep me alive for that long, then you're free to go.
Right.
If I die before then you also die.
Yes.
And essentially this, I'm not going to give away everything that happens at the end of this. I'll just tell you what happens up to the end. Essentially, she determines that he's like got a herniated brain, and she has to like relieve pressure on the brain, which means she has to like drill a hole in his brain and like cut a hole in the skull so that you can like drain the pressure. And Amanda forces her to do it in this warehouse. So she has to use like what she can find in this warehouse.
The trap making tools.
Right, yeah, essentially, yeah. She's using rusty trap making tools to perform surgery. So she performs the surgery. Yeah, she's using there's a regular power drill to drill holes in his skull. And yeah, like it looks like a bone saw, but it's probably like a hobby saw. I don't know what it is, but whatever.
It looks like a oscillating saw that you use to cut like trim work.
Yeah, so yeah, it's something like that. But anyway, it's not a bone saw. So she succeeds in the surgery. She whatever takes a chunk of the skull out, so the brain bleeds and relieves pressure, and Jigsaw gets better. Yes. She wraps his head up or whatever. He's now like able to move and talk better than he was, so he's able to like kind of interact around him. And then basically it's like the game ends. I'll tell what the game was before that, but the game ends, and then that's where we're gonna jump back to later.
Yep.
So anyway, so we jump back to plot B. Plot B is the dad that had the drunk, driving accident son wakes up inside of a box. Okay, and then now his game is he's going to, he's told, oh, the guy who killed your son, you will be able to see him at the end of this. What you decide to do with him is up to you, but I hope that you choose to forgive him or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is like you trying to like get your life back. You'll like, be exposed to different things, and you have to try to like, live your life again to get past it.
Yeah.
A kind of vague thing, whatever we get. Anyway, he breaks out of the box. He walks down this long hallway. He gets into a room that's a freezer. And there's a woman hung up naked in the middle of the freezer. And then as he goes in there, there's a tape recorder. He plays a tape recorder. He finds out this is the woman who witnessed the drunk driving accident. She was the only witness, and that she left the scene and did not give her testimony. So, like, I guess there was no eyewitness to the crime.
Right.
So he has the choice to then, she's like chained up with a padlock, and he's told, the key to this is behind these like frozen pipes. If you get the key and let her out, that's the game, right?
Yep.
So he just kind of sits there and, he's upset, like, you just left. And she's like, please save me. And then she starts getting sprayed with water and she starts like freezing. So then he goes to reach back there and he's like, oh, it's cold. And he looks back at her and she's literally covered in ice.
Yep.
And he like touches her face and then
shatters a little bit.
Right. A little bit. And then he goes back to the key and he goes in and he gets it like stuck on his face a little bit. And he's like, it's like the kid that gets his tongue stuck in Christmas Story. So he gets out and he goes to unlock her and she's just covered in ice. And he just, and just leaves. So, like, obviously she didn't die that fast, but yeah, he's like, whatever. So she dies frozen, but he uses the key to get out of the room. He goes in the next room, and the next room is gross. It is essentially a guy, like, with a neck lock on, holding him down to the bottom of, like, a big vat.
Yep.
And he can't, like, his head is literally on the bottom of the vat, so he can't, like, move up. And so now he sees that, okay, this is the judge that gave because I guess they caught him anyway. Like, I assumed if they said, like, there was no eyewitness that the guy got away. But no, he did get convicted. This is the judge that gave him the sentence. And I guess the judge gave him a light sentence, like gave him like 6 months or something.
Yeah.
So he was very upset about that. So this is the judge that gave that weak judgment, are you going to let him die or not? In order to save him, like, in this incinerator is all of your son's, like,
favorite toys
and all of his belongings. And you have to push the button on the incinerator. It'll burn it all. And then the only thing that'll be left is the key to get him out. But you have to willingly burn it.
Yep.
So he kind of struggles with that. And as he's struggling with that, like, old rotten pigs start rolling in and being dumped into like this, I don't know, what do you call it, like a daiquiri maker?
Yes,
it's like making rotten pig daiquiris.
It's a pulpifier,
right? Yeah, making rotten pig daiquiris and like spewing disgusting rotten pig juice all over this guy that's in this vat. So yes. Like the pig timer is essentially, they has to unlock his neck before he drowns in pig disgusting goop.
Yep.
And the pigs keep coming in faster and faster and faster and faster, and it's like just spewing. And he does actually hit the button. He does burn the belongings. He does get the key, and he does actually make it in and save the guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, thank you. So he saves them, and then they go to the next room. The next room is like already. I thought we were going to go through at least a couple more of these, right? Nope. This is the guy that was the guy who drunk drivingly ran over his son, and it's a guy that apparently like a medical student, whatever. It was like the worst day of his life. Are you going to be able to forgive him or not? And he's in what Jigsaw calls the rack, which is essentially like it's messed up. It's like all of his limbs, arms and legs and head are in like these big like cranks, and essentially like over time they like just start twisting around, and like as you know, the arm can only twist so far before it starts snapping and breaking, and that's what it does to every single one of his limbs.
Yep.
And the thing he has to do to get the key out is there's like a key dangling in front of a shotgun. And he has to like reach in, and like as you pull the key, it's going to pull the trigger of the shotgun.
Right. Will you give a pound of flesh?
Right. Yeah. Will you risk getting shot to save this guy? So he goes in there and he's kind of like pulling out. He's like, I don't think I like that. Right. So then the judge kind of does it a little bit, and he's like, I don't like that either. So then he goes. The judge tries to like stick his hand in the thing to like stop the cranking, because it's like literally like twisting the limbs like all off, like yes. Bones are like shattering and splitting out. I mean, it looks horrific. Anyway,
easily the most painful.
Right. Yeah. So he finally the dad goes, whatever, I'm gonna get it. So he grabs the key, and the shotgun goes off, and the shotgun shoots the judge in the head. Yep. Doesn't bother telling the judge to get out of the way first. So the judge gets shot in the head. The key, there's nowhere to put the key.
Correct.
Like he's looking around and he's like, I don't see anywhere to put this key, which is fair because I didn't either.
Nope.
And then, like, all of a sudden, it starts twisting the guy's head around, and it just snaps his head off, and that's
it. Like, oh, I forgive you.
Yeah, he's like, I forgive you, and then there's nowhere to put the key. So anyways,
we should also point out it after each person, he's getting a note saying one last chance. So he was giving a bullet, he was given
a clip,
and then he was given a gun.
Right. Yeah. So now he has a gun with one bullet, but he got the gun after this guy died.
Yes.
So it's like saying that, you know, you have one more chance after that guy. Like, he thought the whole game was about that guy, but apparently it wasn't.
Right.
Anyway, so now he goes into the last room. The last room is...
He goes into the A plot.
Yeah, the room where Jigsaw was in. And then we find out that that was his wife. The doctor is his wife.
Yes.
So the whole, you know, motel, I'm getting a divorce thing was like a red herring. That was her boyfriend. And that this is her real husband. And that her son was the one that died in the drunk driving accident. And that's why she's dead inside. Right?
Yes. Yep.
And then we find out, I guess we'll jump back to the A plot here. The A plot was Amanda would not let the doctor go. You know, right. Jigsaw is like, this was the game. She played the game. She won the game. You have to let her go. And Amanda's like, no, I can't. We can't do that.
Why is she important to you?
Yeah. Like, again, why is she important to you? And it's like, and she's trying to say, like, he's not important to me. She's important to you. She's like, what does that mean? Yeah.
Your life is in her hands.
Right. She's like, what does that mean? Like, that, I don't know this lady. I don't care about this lady. Why would it matter anything to me? So he's like, anyway, you have the choice to make. So she, like, essentially, as the doctor's trying to walk out of the room, she shoots the doctor in the back.
Yep.
She's not quite dead yet, but she's dying quick. She's getting there fast.
Yeah.
That's when we find out, okay, that this is the drunk driving dad. That's his wife. Right? So he's like, oh, you just shot my wife in the back. So he walks in and he shoots Amanda in the neck.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like just slowly bleeding out. And then Jigsaw's explaining to her, like, yeah, this was your game. Like, this was, you know, this whole thing was set up to see if you would truly follow in my footsteps or not. Because my footsteps would have let her live because she won the game.
And let's go to plot C.
Yeah. And plot C is that she has been deliberately rigging games so that the people can't win. Again, I left out...
You left out the trap, yeah.
Yeah, I left out... There's 2 traps in there that I completely left out and even mentioned because I figured we'd go into them later.
Yeah.
But we found out that she intentionally rigged those 2 games so they cannot be won, so that they would just be killed, and then she watched them die. Yes. And then we also get flashbacks to her intentionally sabotaging kills earlier.
Yeah.
We get it from the first movie, to where apparently, this is my guess. Okay, I'm going to make 2 major points about Saw 1. Do you want me to make them now, or do you want to make them later?
I'll make them now because I know what you're going to say.
Okay, one is that she goes back when Adam is still alive.
Yep.
Okay, now in my mind, the only reason she would go back while Adam is still alive is because Jigsaw was like, how come he's not out yet?
Right.
Like, go fucking let him out. Like, what the hell? Like, he should have been able to get out by now. He won his game. He succeeded. Go let him out. And she went there and strangled him to death by putting plastic over his head. Okay? Yes. That's one. That's one point I'm going to make is she went back to kill Adam when she wasn't supposed to. She's supposed to let him out. And 2, the major point is that he relied on her to set up Adam's part of the trap, and she didn't do it right.
No, she just haphazardly
she just
threw on him.
Right, she tossed the key on his chest and then dunked him in the bathtub. And that's what we see in the very beginning of Saw. When he wakes up, the key goes whoop right down the drain, which wasn't supposed to be. It was either supposed to be like in his pocket or like, you know,
wrapped
around his neck or tied to the bathtub chain or something to where like he could have gotten it back out.
Right.
And that's why Jigsaw says the key for that chain is in the tub. Like, he was probably confused as to why he didn't find it. Yeah. Because it had a little flashlight on it.
Oh yeah.
So in the dark, he should have seen it. And that's why he was probably confused. Like, oh, maybe he just didn't see it. And then at the end, he was like, well, you survived. So your key is in the tub. Like, you know, and then he left. expecting Adam to unlock himself and then come out later. I'm probably closing the door and putting him in the dark so it would take him longer so that he had time to get away. That was, in my mind, that is what happened. And she's the reason why Adam didn't get out, for two reasons. Like I said, one, she sabotaged the actual trap, and two, when Jigsaw told her to go back and get him, she killed him anyway.
Well, and then she went back after Detective Matthews after he got out.
Yeah, she says she did, and he said that she did, but we don't actually see that. You know what I mean? We see him get out in the hallway, and then she says that she went back and let him go, and then Jigsaw says, no, you went back and finished him off, didn't you? And she doesn't answer.
Well, right, because she gets viciously attacked, almost killed by Detective Matthews. But yes. But yeah, she still went back to kill him, and then we might as well go into the other traps, right?
Okay, yeah. So the other traps are one, these traps are so ridiculous. Okay, one is a guy wakes up and he's literally chained to the walls. Like he's got hooks and like
he opened up the lament configuration.
Right, yeah, like literally. He's got like suspension hooks in like all of it. Like I don't know how many chains were there, like 10?
Okay, so he had one in each hand. So between his middle finger and ring finger, in the middle of each hand.
And he had one in his tricep on both his arms.
He had one in his back shoulder bone, like his
two there, and then he had two in his love handles.
Yeah, and then two in his Achilles heels.
Right. I mean, yeah, it was a lot.
And one
through
his mouth.
Right, through his jaw, which, yeah, you can get a ring in there, but you ain't pulling that out. What are you supposed to do? Rip your own jaw off?
Right.
That's impossible. You can't do that.
No, I don't know how they got it in there.
Well, you can get it. You can, if it's a captive hook, you can open it up and put it through there. Like the bottom of your chin is soft. There's no bone there. So you can get a hook through there, but you ain't pulling it out. Like again, he had to pull it out of his hand. Yeah, technically you can, if you put it between the bones, you can pull it out. It's a lot of meat and a lot of pain to get it out, but you can do it. But like to get it out of your jaw, it's literally impossible. I don't know what they were thinking there. Well, I mean, I guess she sabotaged it anyway, so it didn't really matter. So he was supposed to pull all of these hooks off of him, right?
And then stop a bomb.
and get to this bomb in time, a teddy bear bomb in 2 minutes.
Yep.
Like, dude, again, with these ridiculous time limits, like, you know how much time it would take to rip things out of your own skin separately like that?
Oh, he got all but one.
Well, I'm saying, but like the way suspension works, if you try to do it all at once, it's not going to work. Right. You have to do each one individually. That takes more than 2 minutes. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Anyway, no matter what, even if he did get all the way out and somehow got to the bomb and defused it, he wouldn't have been able to get out of the room because the door was welded shut.
Yep.
Meaning that, like, this is happening. Now, Detective Dizzy, I guess we didn't mention her yet. Detective Dizzy is in this movie. She is in the first movie for a little tiny bit. Like, she's literally, like, I think the partner in the scene. Like, I think she's Singh's partner, right? Like,
yes.
Whatever. So we see her, during the razor wire incident, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, she was in the first one a little bit. She was in the second one. She was like the partner of Detective Matthews. Like she was the one that was running the kind of tech team part of the thing.
Right. And then she was trying to figure out where Detective Matthews went. So she's investigating every Jigsaw trial.
Right. Yeah. To see if it's him. Right. Yeah. To see if they find him. So she witnesses this one. She's the one that figures out, hey, he would have died no matter what. There's no way that
he broke his own rules.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
You son of a bitch.
Right. So then they find another one. Well, she finds another one because it happens to her, to where she wakes up and there's like, I guess, one of those reverse bear traps that's literally like individually screwed into each one of her ribs.
Right, and somehow lives through that.
Okay, but I'm saying, like, this is how ridiculous they get now. It's like individually screwed into each individual rib, so when the thing opens, it would literally like tear open her rib cage.
Right,
like, that's what happened. So yes, I imagine you would die from that. But that's the thing, and to stop this, she has to stick her hand in a bucket of acid to get the key out.
That's already been in the acid for who knows how long.
Right, yeah. It literally plunked in there before she even woke up. So yeah, it says, oh, you better hurry up, stick your hand in there and get the key before it dissolves. Like, again, if you would have dunked the key in there that earlier, by the time you get it out, it's not going to work anymore.
Right.
Because all the little ridges are going to be different, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Because she wouldn't have gotten out anyway, because she gets the key, it eats her hand away. She opens the lock, and of course, nothing happens because the ribs are like individually screwed into. Yeah. Like, what are you going to open? Is she supposed to unscrew it from each one of her ribs?
Yeah.
But anyway, however the trap was originally supposed to work, we don't know. We just know that Amanda rigged it so that she would die no matter what.
And she watched it.
Right. And she watched it happen. So Detective Dizzy actually did succeed. She did do what Jigsaw would have deemed, worthy of her living. But because Amanda was doing them herself, because Jigsaw was too sick, and she just wants people to die. So she forced her to die. Anyway, so that's the trap 2. I guess we already went over the doctor trap with the shotgun necklace. And then the other traps we already went over because they were part of the B storyline. So I think that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
So that's all the traps and stuff. You want to go into your highlights there?
The highlights, obviously, again, Tobin Bell, man, he is Jigsaw. He nails these performances. I feel every single time. He really plays off that, like, just he is, streets ahead of you. He is so far ahead of everyone in the game.
Oh,
that's uncanny.
I guess I forgot to close out the A storyline. Jigsaw dies. Jeff, after he shoots Amanda, and then Jigsaw then says, "Okay, now it's up to you. Like, you can either can either forgive me or you can kill me." And he's like, "Oh, I forgive you." And then he kills him anyway. And he like takes a saw and like slices his neck.
Which then sets off the shotgun.
Right, yeah, which then, kills his wife because he didn't know that it was a shotgun necklace. So he was like literally saying, like, I can call an ambulance and have it here in time to save your wife, or you can kill me and then I lose everything.
Well, also, and he plays his tape, I'm the only person who knows where your daughter is. So he kidnapped his daughter.
Right.
And now the doors are locked.
Yep.
And I'm assuming daughter dies.
Well, who knows?
I don't think we ever find out.
I don't think they ever mention her again. So.
Nope. So yeah, highlight is Tobin Bell. Like, I feel like he did just an amazing job. You have to give him props. The first 2 traps, not gruesome, but still pretty bad, right? Like that pig slop. Like, okay. Like, I like the changing up of the traps. They aren't all just pure violence. You know what I mean? It's not blood and gore and viscera. But, and I think, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about Amanda in this one. But yeah, it really felt like they tied up the trilogy. Because they, like, okay, everyone is dead, essentially.
Right.
Right? Like, oh, this is the final Saw because Jigsaw's dead. Well, Amanda's dead.
Right. Well, the funny part is like, yeah, it really felt like they were trying to wrap up all the loose ends, right?
Because they show like every person and every kill as like a montage, like a 30-second montage.
Well, yeah, that's what they're trying to wrap up the loose ends of the first movie. Like, they're trying to like close out the trilogy, like this is going to be the last one, but we also see signs of them leading up to another one
because we get Detective Hoffman.
Well, we get him a little bit, but that's he was just in one of the crime scenes. But no, there's literally a scene of him taking a little tape and covering it in wax, so that he can swallow it, and which is what he does. And is it the next one?
It is the next one,
yeah. Because the next one, but again, we're leading up to the next one, like we're showing that they already know they're making another one. Which is why it's odd that they're just kind of close this one out.
Yeah, I mean, if this was the trilogy, it would have been a hell of a trilogy. You know, everything. Yeah. I like how everything was tied together. That we get behind the scenes of kind of everything. So I do like that. That they're trying to be consistent. Right. Trying be the keyword. That's about it. How about you?
Okay. Yeah, I liked how they filled in the blanks for one.
Yeah.
Because again, yeah, the first time you watch it, you don't notice the holes, right? You don't, and then you watch it enough times, and you do, and then it's like, then you really start getting upset, like, what the hell? This doesn't make any sense. Why would he do that stuff? And then they literally kind of like, I'd say they like retro, changed it in the past, but in a way that, it wasn't intentionally rewriting history.
It wasn't retconned in the way that it just destroyed the timeline.
Right. Yeah. It didn't do that. It just gave a reason why, which at least they understood that they had to do that, which is nice.
Yeah.
So they filled in the blanks for one. They find, you find out what happened to Adam. Surprisingly, they even tell you what happened to Detective Matthews.
Right.
Right. Yeah. They literally tie up like every loose end. Anybody that I think the only loose end they don't tie up in this movie is what happened to the detective's son
and Jeff's daughter.
Right.
At this point.
But she was literally like a last minute thing at the end, like for him to have a reason to do that, which I mean, it was kind of cool. I mean, I like the twist because it's like a triple twist, right?
Oh yeah.
It was like, oh, this is a test for Jeff. Oh no, it's a test for Amanda. And we're back to Jeff. It's like it keeps twisting around and and you did not expect, especially after that surgery that like makes Jigsaw better, you would expect like, oh, it's easy for them to make a sequel now because now he's better, and then he gets killed anyway, which is kind of unnecessary but surprising.
Yeah, they have the main guy and like, oh, he's dead.
Right.
Yeah.
That was good. It was interesting. I liked it. What about your low points?
How much money does Jigsaw have? Like, where does he get all these 50 rotten pig carcasses?
Okay, well, how does he keep affording all these like warehouses?
Like I said, it's Detroit, so you can buy a city block for $1,000. Well, I can give him that. Give him that. But the pig, his pig money, I don't know where his pig money is.
If he goes into an old abandoned slaughterhouse, you're gonna have old rotten pigs in there, and that's probably what it is.
Yeah,
I guess.
And like I said, once again, I'll say it every time, like the people in these traps, all for Jeff's game. Like, this isn't destroying Jeff. His job is to save people. Okay, so he got a little freezer burn on his cheek. Like, first and foremost, you're wearing a bathrobe. Put it over your face while you're going against those pipes. Jeff was clearly insulated enough to get to that key.
Yeah, but even again, when he got the key, like, even if she was covered in ice, like, she was covered in ice for like less than a minute.
Yeah,
like she would still be alive. He barely tried and then walked away. like, whoops.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Oops. Oopsie.
And then the third one, it was just finding hilarious that he doesn't go, "Hey, look out! I'm going to grab the key." Nope. Boom. Toward Judge gets shot in the head.
Right. And I don't care what that slop is made of. That would be uncomfortable and disgusting to be laying there and getting all that slop on you.
Oh God. I mean, I've been around like really rotten meat, and it is a scent that does not go away.
Like, that is to me the most sickening trap.
Oh man. I mean, I've literally smelled meat like so bad that it like I literally blew out my like sense of smell for like 2 days. And then when it came back, whenever I smelled anything with like an intense smell, didn't even have to smell like that, but any kind of intense smell. Like we went out to dinner and it was like somebody ordered garlic fries.
Yeah.
And that garlic smell hit me and it was like, boom, I instantly smelled it again. I'm like, oh shit, is it on me? I thought like I got a whiff of like a piece of it got on me somehow, but no, I was just having scent flashbacks for how bad that smell is. Yeah. It's horrible.
Oh yeah, like I said, that's the most disgusting trap.
Yeah, by
And
far.
but the guy who ran over the son, he probably the most painful. I'm gonna go with the chains are probably pretty painful too.
But yeah, what the
But
hell was he supposed to do with the key?
right,
He had a key and he's looking around like, what do I do with it? While it's like slowly spinning his head around.
yeah.
Like even if he would have like survived, like his limbs would have been complete jelly.
Oh yeah, useless.
Yeah, dear Lord.
Um, yeah, those are my low points. What are your low points?
Yeah, no, like I said, like even if those traps weren't rigged, there's no chance you could have won them anyway.
No.
Like I said, the guy would have to rip his whole jaw off to get that
Yep.
last ring out. She would have to unscrew each individual rib to get that thing off of her ribs. Again, I don't know if that was the way it was supposed to be or that was the way it was rigged. I don't know, but that's horrible.
No, there's no way she was surviving that regardless.
Yeah, again, there's no way to survive it, and again, I hate how they make a big deal about multiple things in the first one. One is that everybody gets a chance to survive, which again we see in the first movie he's not even following his own rules.
Right.
It gets worse in the second one, and then this one we literally have people that don't have a chance at all that rely on other people to save them.
Right.
You know what I
They
mean?
don't have it. It's not their game.
Yeah,
So
those people
therefore,
are not
they're
invested to save you. Why would you make their game have someone else save you? That sucks.
Right. Right. They're dispensable to the main game.
Right. And the second thing that they, is he had to watch everything himself, right?
Yeah.
He had to have a front row seat. He didn't even bother watching the rest of these.
Nope.
Like he wasn't even there. He didn't even watch it on a camera. Nothing.
Right.
Like all of a sudden now this is the third movie. It's not like we're that far into the franchise and he already doesn't follow his own rules.
Right.
It's just goofy.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. You enjoyed the pig slop trap?
Like I said, I've smelled rotten meat that would be akin to that, and it is rough. It's fine seeing it, but smelling it is another story.
Did it bring back nightmares for you?
No, I've already had those nightmares. Those nightmares are gone.
Yeah, I'm saying I had the nightmare of the chains attached to me from that movie. I
watched all the Hellraisers long before I watched this. If I was gonna have nightmares about chains, I would have had it from there.
Yeah, but yeah, the mouth one, like, there's no way he's doing that one.
Like I said, yeah, like I knew people at that time. I knew people that did suspensions, and I knew people that were like very into body modification and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I know that you can technically pierce through the bottom of your jaw, but you cannot pull it through your jaw, and your jaw is solid. You would have to rip your jawbone off to get that thing out of there, and that's like you can't expect a person to rip their own jawbone off with their bare hands.
No,
you can't do that.
No. So, all right, why don't you go first for tetanus shots?
Tetanus shots. I will say I did. I don't know. I don't know if I like this. I want to say I liked it more, but it's not a lot more. I'll say this one. We'll give this one a 4.75. 4.75 tetanus shots out of 10.
I said if this had been the end, it would have been a satisfying end to the trilogy. It would have been, other than the two loose threads, maybe. It would have been great. But yeah, we know where it's coming next. Is this better than Saw 2? Yes. I wasn't as pissed off.
No, like I said, I was pissed off at some of the traps, but you're supposed to get mad. They're intentionally impossible. But again, there are ones that are literally just don't make sense. Like I'd say all of Jess' traps don't make sense. The other traps are just impossible, but she made them impossible. So it makes sense, in the canon of this. And I like that they patched up this stuff from 1.
Yeah. So that's why I'm giving it 7.5 tetanus shots out of 10.
All right. Anything else to add?
No, I know we're doing the next 3.
Yeah.
Next episode.
That's right. So, with John Kramer dead, can the franchise live or will it die? Continue the next episode, even more rusty traps. And even if we escaped, may get rust poisoning, the ever-growing odds in these impossible to win games. And remember, we watch bad movies so you don't have to.
This has been Graveyard saying, have you checked on the children?
This is Salem saying, long live the new flesh.
Good night.